parking on either side because the setbacks are just for the structure, is that correct? That doesn't take into account the parking spaces. So there's enough room on each side.
For like two each, for like two parking spaces each.
Yes.
Because most people have at least two vehicles.
They do, but
So
when
they-
the friend comes, then where's the friend park?
Yeah, well, it's illegal to park on the street, so they can't park, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I get
No,
what
we
you're saying.
try not to be, you know,
Well,
I mean, you
that's
don't
like a
want to.
one lane.
Exactly,
Yeah, so
but
that's
you
not-
know, one of these is on a busy street, but it's still narrow. And you know, that would just be, if we could prevent it before to make sure that there wasn't any street parking, you know, that would be enough parking spaces for them to be able to park.
You can make room for at least 3 places on each side, even if it's gravel.
Yeah.
Just so it's not, so that at least there's another place
Maybe
to
just a
park.
gravel pull-off or something for
Yeah.
it.
You sort of let out the road.
Yeah, just, yeah.
So you looked at all the setbacks and I've tried to doodle it out a little bit to try to figure out all the setbacks. You can fit this thing in there? Have we want enough BTUs to?
Yeah, we looked at everything, and like I said, that's another reason why we're going to R3. They're gonna be about, I don't know if y'all seen the ones on that core.
I didn't think
But they're gonna be,
Similar to
Still
that, just the
similar
fact
to
that
that.
they're two-story. I think those are 3-bedroom, these would be probably 2 or 3 bedroom.
but they sit in a real small area.
Yeah, so that was really when we looked at it with Jeff in his office, that's the reason it went from originally R2
Yeah.
to R3, was to make sure that it would fit on the lot, so yeah, we are fairly certain.
I don't think I remember, that's why I wanted to explain, because I don't remember ever going from an R1 to an R3.
Right.
You know, you do an R1, R2, you know, then a 2, then 3.
But in our books, it is permitted in an R3 zone to have a duplex, so.
But it will have plenty room for them to be able to park and things like that.
Sure.
Okay.
So what did you say the square foot was? You said, did you say 85?
It's around 8,500 square foot, the lot itself.
Yeah, I did a quick GIS and I got 95. I was curious.
It may be
Maybe,
95.
yeah.
What's the difference in those lots and the ones that we say that can only have tiny homes?
Well, that goes back to the square footage.
Yeah, okay.
You know, that's the biggest thing
Right,
with them is the
okay.
square footage.
It's them being so small.
Right,
Okay.
And those would be
Okay,
less than
that's what I thought.
7,500.
yeah, and they're less than 7,500, yeah.
Okay.
So you can only put 40% coverage of a building on a lot, according to what I'm
40%.
understanding here. So that's 3,400 square feet building.
Footprint.
Yeah, the footprint of the
Correct.
building,
That's the
exactly.
reason it
Yes,
goes
it could be,
two-story, right.
multiple stories, but
Right.
yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so I think if you look at, I mean, I don't have anything in mind, I'm just saying, just for instance, if you had, say, 1,200 square foot per unit footprint, then you've got 2,400 square foot footprint.
Right,
You might have, 4,800 square foot total with the duplex because you've doubled it,
right.
you know what I'm saying? But I think for square footage wise, it would still be full.
Okay. And you're gonna have the face of the building facing the utility, what is that?
See,
the back of
Just
the
facing
city.
the road,
They
yeah.
facing the street.
Right.
All the good views over there.
Or you could face
Then you'd have
face
the back
the-
facing the street, or facing the street,
the
so.
pond for the water plant.
Wait, we're
Yeah.
gonna, well,
Either way, you're gonna face
That's a
the
nice
water
building.
plant or.
Yeah, it's waterfront property, it's just not lakefront, it's the city pond.
Yeah. The lagoon.
you know, good power, really easy to get the thing power. They'll be the first one back on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Um,
Hopefully, but not all the time.
Right.
Mary Lou, do you have any further questions?
No, I'm fine with it.
Ms. Lisa?
No, that was my only question, is just to make sure that we have enough room for them to be able to park without getting calls of not having room to park. So that was my, because I told Jeff today when we talked, I said, that's one of my biggest issues is because with the streets being so narrow and so small. And like she said, people are gonna have friends over at some point in time, or family or whatever. And so just to make sure that, that that's covered.
And they do have a parking lot very close to it.
The
They
surrender
do, they have,
parking
well,
lot.
they got the city parking
The
lot.
city parking lot.
They got the city parking lot, right.
True.
So maybe that would be something that could be in, when you build and they rent, if they have overflow
Put that in the
parking,
lease
they
agreement.
they could move it, yeah, in the agreement, right. That
Whatever,
they,
they just didn't know they can't park on the road.
yeah, yeah. But like I said, they could even, you know, with the city.
I said it not good.
Yeah.
And not the lagoon, don't run in the lagoon. Don't try to, there's no fish there, so can't fish.
Yeah, we got, it's got a gate on it.
Oh, it doesn't
Yeah,
have
it's
a
got a
gate.
gate on it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, know that they can't fish or they can't swim.
Not really good fishing.
Stock it with,
No.
something.
Just season.
Uh,
But no, that was my biggest concern.
okay.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve it?
Ma'am,
You need a motion to approve
I
it?
do need a motion to approve.
Just a motion to recommend approval to the,
Thank
To
you.
the-
Motion
to the-
recommend.
to the-
To vote on, yes.
The full,
She
So
knows.
moved.
yes,
Okay, can you second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, 3. You don't have to spell unanimous, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it
We
does.
just go pass. Easier to do.
Goodness.
All right.
All right.
Next order of business is manufactured homes, old business. Mr. Brian, did you have something to say on this?
sorry to kill the trees on this. Couple things. One thing I realized, well, first of all, talked about a couple changes at the last meeting. So added those in. A couple adjustments. Dwelling must have 3 feet by 3 feet landing outside the exit doors and steps. All piers under dwelling set on poured concrete pads with the minimum dimensions of 2 feet by 2 feet and then 10 inches deep. Provide a porch with the minimum, I apologize, I should go back. So, was looking at double-wide homes, or double-wide mobile home, and Tennessee law says they are essentially treated the same as a single-family stick-built home, but Tennessee law also says municipalities, well, it also says they have to appear like a single-family home. So a lot of other jurisdictions, what they've done is they said, hey, to make it look like a single-family home, here are the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
So we had, there was that list talked about in August, and there were a couple comments that were added in. So a couple of these things that are added in, that set on poured concrete pads, and now it's a minimum dimension of 2 feet by 2 feet. So the builder, person putting it in could go larger than that.
Now, that's in the back, right? That would be the back, the 2 by 2.
No, that's
At
the,
least
That's where they anchor.
Oh, the anchor, because I knew we talked about a back porch being smaller, so,
yeah, it has that in here.
okay, yes.
And then the next one was to add a porch with a minimum size of 64 square feet on the front. Okay. And then one of the big concerns was about anchoring. So looked around for some language on anchoring, so what I've added in here would be a couple of requirements on the anchors, just clarity. Frame tie down shall be used on any such unit not more than 50 feet in length, 3 on each side, and on any such unit more than 50 feet in length, 4 frame tie down should be used on each side.
Let me stop you. And I checked with Clayton Homes, because that's the one that got all this brought in, and it's already put in. This is what they do right here.
Okay.
It's exactly on the tie downs.
Oh, okay.
So. All right, go ahead. I don't want to get that out there.
Okay, a question I have on the second bullet point. Why do we have that in there when we address the porches in other things along there? Like the fourth bullet point has the porch size, 64 square feet. So why do we say, if we say 3 feet by 3 feet, are they gonna think that that's what they could have?
That's confusing, so we should change that, yes.
We should take that out.
Yeah.
But on the other words, outside the exit doors and steps and ground with handrails, that needs to be there
And so,
on both of them.
if it makes sense, exactly like I said, I'll add it on the front and then the rear porch.
It needs to say it on the porch, the minimum size 64 feet, and it should say it on the provided rear porch with a maximum of 4 by 6.
Yes.
But that other sentence just needs to not be there.
So which bullet point are you thinking we should pull? The second bullet on this?
The second bullet point needs to be pulled, except the exit doors and the steps to ground of
Yeah,
handrails.
I got you. Very good.
And
Thank
then
you.
you add that information to bullet point 4,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one down after the 5 list,
After the tie downs.
yeah, after the tie down. It should be, that should be attached to that too. Because they have to have handrails and rails for safety.
And then the other item that came up was providing examples from other jurisdictions on how they handle multi-sectional manufactured housing. And so I apologize, I got this late to Jeff, I got this in today. So
That's
just
the one I brought to y'all.
That's why I've asked these different difficult or silly questions, I guess, because I'm
No,
just
these
trying
are
to
good
catch up
questions.
again.
So here are a couple different ways, and look mainly at jurisdictions around Middle Tennessee. Just pull what they have, so I have a sort of a summary of their key requirements, and then have the actual language behind that.
They just have a 3x3 landing, and we think they need to have a bigger porch to make it look like a house, instead of like a trailer.
So it, yes, yes.
But most of them are all about the same.
Pretty similar, and going through it, I realized that one thing I missed in this, I believe the Dover zoning ordinance already has a distinction for multi-sectional manufactured housing or double wides. And it's called prefabricated housing. So there is that category. I think some things to think about are, there can be additional requirements added in, again, to make it look more like homes, like a stick-built home, perfectly legal. And then the other thing too is it might be good to clarify, because it's in the definitions, but it isn't clear that the prefabricated house is treated the same as a stick-built house. So, and then there can be a question of terminology too. So
Right.
those are some things to clarify. I
Yes.
did just want to point out, I'd overlooked that previously. And so I guess the comment was, a lot of them doing it the same way. So you sort of see some patterns going on here. So a lot of the Dixon County jurisdictions, very similar to the proposed language, and that's where I got it
Right,
from.
right.
Some other ones, you'll see Ashland City and Pegram, very similar to what's existing in the Dover language. And that 600 gross square footage and minimum horizontal dimensions of 15 feet, so that, if we think about a single wide being 8 feet wide, a double wide becomes 16, then that helps clarify that. Some other ones might be worth thinking about too. Pitched roof comes up in a couple different places.
I saw that myself. And that,
Yeah.
to me, I like that one, because that, visually, I
Yes.
thought that one was
Yes.
quite
I
good.
like a picture of
Yes, yes.
And then Portland has an interesting one too, where less than 5 years old at time of placement. So when it's put down, it has to be less than 5 years old.
Right.
And then a couple, and I don't know if this is concern or not, but a couple areas, no exposed concrete block in the foundation. I don't know if that is or is not a concern, but just want to bring that up as another one.
I think it's a concern, because, you know, if they don't have that covered, animals can get under there, anything can go under there. Water lines freeze.
Well, I thought we already had it to where they was gonna have a lock.
I thought that's what we had talked
Yeah, I
about
thought
as
so,
well.
too.
that
They
it
have
was
to have
supposed
skirting,
to
they
be
can't be metal
a
skirting.
block.
Right, I thought it was
There
gonna
wasn't allowed to
have
be
to
that metal skirting and that plastic kind.
Right, it's gonna have to be block skirting, is
But
what
it's,
I
Yeah.
thought.
but not exposed now. So now, not only does it have to be substantial as block, but then covered with something that's more visually appealing.
Okay.
Right.
I think is that where we're leaning?
Yeah.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
I think that's where
So
we.
Portland, for instance, requires an enclosed foundation, and then they also have a no exposed concrete block. I believe my line up with that.
Does it either need to be on a concrete pad or on a block foundation?
Is concrete blocks exposed if it's stuccoed?
That'd be fine.
Question.
Is it smooth looking?
Is that something you wanna add in there as a stucco? Cause,
Well,
I mean, I've seen several like that, I mean.
well, then there's like the concrete block that's sort of like pretty.
Yeah,
And then there's like, what do they call, split block or architectural block. Where it's-
Facial block.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What-
Where
yes.
it still looks nice, it's not that ugly, you know, that looks
Right.
like.
That's like the.
It looks like a finished,
Right.
Yeah. So how would we differentiate that if that's something we want? Or do we want?
Well, and I think that could just be written in where it's, you know, enclosed foundation, no exposed concrete, or could say, split face block is allowed.
Yeah.
I'm not wordsmithing very well right now, but I think it'd be something like,
Right.
yeah.
It may cost them more for that block, but it would be cost them just as have it stucco too.
Than having to.
So it'd
cover
probably be
it
just as
with
well to have that,
something.
and that'll stay. The stucco might eventually come off. And it says, do we have that in there? Or we need to put that in?
So just to make sure I'm understanding, one thing is to clean up that language about the porch size, getting rid of the 3 by 3 and
Yeah.
then moving the railing and on down.
Right, into those two porches.
Some, if I'm hearing correctly, enclosed foundation is another one there's consensus on, or, okay?
I thought that's what we had actually talked about the last meeting. Just
So those are called fascia
something
blocks?
More of a foundation that looks
And just use a fascia block.
from the ground.
They're called,
That makes
facial.
sense.
Yeah.
Plus, they say they had a
And then on the
concrete block
facing of
foundation.
it,
On the
Made it as
foundation.
normal
Because
concrete
it's just a
block,
regular
not
block,
fancy
but the
brick.
one side has got that
What would
fascia.
cover it, that we would say?
It's a finished look.
Do what now?
You wouldn't paint it,
No,
because that would
we
look,
paint
to
it.
me, that's still exposed.
No, well, yeah, well,
And
if
put
you
crummy
paint it,
looking
it's not gonna
plastic
stay
on
on there, it's gonna peel.
You would have to, if it's just the face, not the facial blocks, but the regular smooth block, it'd have to be stuck on.
Yeah, you'd have to have something else on it.
I would think, I mean, I wouldn't know.
There's not much else out there, is there, after that? Because we've already sort of said we didn't want like the metal stuff,
Yeah,
metal
metal
skirting.
metal skirting.
And we wouldn't want like cheap looking plastic.
If you put
But a lot of people do
something
make
on
a foundation out of concrete block and then they run their exterior veneer close to the
Yeah,
ground,
They
but
do.
you don't necessarily have it to the ground. So you have it where it's one or
Some
two
exposed.
courses of block and then it's okay. So,
Mhm.
I don't know, let's say you wanted to do this, how would you do it?
I use that fascia block,
Me too.
because it gives it a nice look.
Yeah, because it's clean and easy and it's durable.
Mhm.
But maybe that's all, maybe now we're only giving them, and then, but they see if they had a plastic or it's vinyl siding or metal siding, you don't put that over that fascial block and you're
No.
gonna make your last course, it's gonna go down to a regular concrete block and then you'd have courses below that, would be the architectural block or split face. So there would still be potentially some distance of exposed concrete block. Is that acceptable? So and what does that mean?
Once you put shrubs and stuff in there, it's not gonna.
And no one's gonna see it.
Yeah,
And the grass is gonna grow red anyway if you don't.
Well, yeah, once you get that coverage, but
Uh-huh.
we're not gonna have that the day one. We're gonna say, you gotta be squared away. So how do we do that? How do we sort of painted them into a corner at this point? All they've got left is stuck over this concrete split face block.
I mean, you know, of course, that's up to y'all, but like, you could leave just the first row of block exposed on your foundation. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, like she said, once you get your shrubbery and stuff in there,
yeah.
It's hot, it's getting,
right,
so would you say no more than one course of concrete block exposed? Would that be, or is that, now are we just splitting hairs?
I think it probably going to help out on the permitting side if there's clarity on, you know, and it could just be as simple as, you know, maximum height of exposed concrete block is, what would one length of block be? Well, and I can look
One
that up
block's
too.
8 inch, typically.
Yeah.
And then we could just say, you know, for the first, 8 inches, if that's where it is, you know, first 8 inches may be
From there,
exposed, but then the rest of the foundation must be split face.
Yeah.
And, sort of heard both ways, only split face or split face and stucco?
Both.
Both?
I think we need to go with both.
Yeah, they
I
have.
think we
either
would
one.
like- Either one,
I
we don't
think
care.
they should at least have choice, because I think either or would look good.
You wouldn't go
Okay,
for one,
just-
for one or the other probably.
And obviously, they could use a brick foundation, they could put a brick veneer on it, which would be very expensive, but at that point, you're not probably buying a stick-built home, but.
What about rock? What about some kind of rock? Or they have that rock that you can use too, that's really pretty, that, you know, that looks good at the bottom.
I mean, a lot of people making block
There's a
houses
lot of
where
things,
it's
you know,
steel above
rocks and
too.
things like that, yeah.
And still exposed concrete,
Mhm.
cast in place concrete is still acceptable. If they were going to make a foundation of it. We sure made this hard on Brian. I'm sorry, Brian.
No, so-
Well, it's
right
a
book.
one-time being hard, okay?
No,
It's not like we're gonna
this
come
is
back
good-
with
this is
next.
good clarity, and then the other thing too is.
Yes,
uh,
yes, to be guessed.
You know, talking through ideas, and then once you see it on paper, then it's, okay, now we shift this and change
Yeah.
this.
No
and-
double meanings.
Yeah.
No
Right, and that's what I
double
like,
meanings.
because some of the, I mean, some of the things you read now, you,
They're double
how you
meanings.
read it
Exactly, I can
is
make the
how,
one.
you know.
And they'll interpret it the way they want to.
I like for it to be
is.
black and white, that way I can say, well, here's what it says, this is
Yeah,
what you gotta do.
Sure, sure, no arguing
And like I
about it.
said,
Right.
doing it one time, it may be difficult right now for you, Brian, but the one time, and once we get it done, the clarity's there. And there's no second guessing, so,
And that's this process, draft, review, revise, draft, and then
yes,
finalize.
yes, okay. Thank you.
Well, thank y'all.
Well, all roofs are pitched, as we said, and I see this really good one here. Is that, what's one for Portland? Goodlettsville. They specify it's a 512 roof. Because all roofs are pitched. I mean, everybody pitches, even if you're only gonna go,
Right.
you know, a half an inch per foot, it's still pitched.
Now, do we have the right to add that in there though? On the roof?
I don't know that I can say one way or the other, so,
Which one?
MTS had some
Good-
discussion
good
on
one.
better
Second to last
requirements and some other things too, and,
Right.
I don't know that there's real clarity on that one way or the other, but I can, see
We've
if
got
we get a little clarity.
businesses and things that doesn't have pitched roofs.
Huh?
I said, we've got businesses and one of our schools doesn't have a pitched roof.
Yeah.
Elver Elementary's got a flat roof, so, are we at liberty to tell someone they've got to have a pitched roof on their prefabricated home?
Well, they're
and then
pitched a
we've got-
little, but
Well, what does pitch mean? I mean, industrial development, unless it's sagging and it's about to fall in, it's got to, the roof does drain.
yeah.
It might only be a
I know,
half an inch per foot or
I'm on
something. It might be
camera,
very
so I
small.
shouldn't say, but
Yeah.
it was
Roof
flat when
drains.
they built it.
What's that?
A flat roof on a commercial building has roof drains.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
it's
does.
slight-
But
it's
eventually
slight.
it does still leak and cause a lot
Versus
of
a
problems.
residential,
Yeah,
it doesn't drain.
it does, it does not.
Well, and I do think the statute does say to appear like a single family.
It's like a home, so if you're gonna do a home, you're gonna have that, it's gonna be. Mhm.
You do two jurisdictions here that do have that in their
Have that.
I
requirements.
think that since they say it, let's try it, let's say it.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
Let's say it's 512, if they got away with it,
Yeah.
we can say, well, they did it, now they can go yell
Yeah.
at Goodlettsville first.
yeah.
Poor old Goodlettsville.
and, I have a sister who was close, well, my nephew lives there, my sister was close.
Does she have a 512 roof?
No, she lives in a house.
And we have base foundation landscaping, don't we, on one of ours?
I think we just have seeded and straw, so that'd be
Yeah.
an addition, but we can have that certainly.
I think Portland's got
But Goodlettsville
base
has
foundation.
It has an enclosed foundation and base foundation landscaping. Such foundation shall not include exposed concrete block. We just want them to look like houses and not look like trailers.
That's it.
Because if there's a really nice house beside it, they're not gonna want one that looks like a trailer.
And do think, we see this, commercial design standards and everything like that too. The more the clarity on what the aesthetics look like, then, I think, obviously improves the aesthetics and also I think helps, somebody's coming and doing this seriously as opposed to, all right, here's a piece of land and let's just pop something.
When you see them coming down the road, they always have a bit of a pitch from the inside.
Yeah.
And then when they come together, they have to do the roof there.
That is a question. I don't know how many homes actually manufactured come with that 512 or how hard that is.
More than they used to. They do them a lot more now because they try to make them look as much.
I know
like a home.
Clayton's homes do.
Yeah.
I don't know about trailer, double wide.
I guess we could ask Clayton. Do you know this guy?
I don't know him, I mean, I talked to him.
Okay, well, yeah, we could ask him, not put something on or something, maybe 512 is, I just don't have any reckoning on that, I don't think about it.
I think their homes probably have that much of a pitch, but I don't know about the,
It might be that 512 is weird for a mobile home, but maybe 312 is normal. Or something, and you know, I wouldn't want to get,
see if we can find
Really
out what the
too
pitch
weird.
is on those
yeah.
trailers.
What the average is of the.
I said he drive by Clayton Homes now. That one looks good.
Yeah,
What is that?
I'll call him tomorrow and find out.
Oh, thanks,
That way I
man.
can get back to Brian's with
Yeah.
him.
And you could probably try to find out, Jeff, too, what is the minimum they have and the maximum they have on the pitch, to see what they have. You
Yeah,
know, see what
exactly.
the minimum, you know, how they sell them, what is the minimum on them, and the maximum. Yes.
We have really belabored this point. We just really-
Well, you know, it's kind of like, it's not to be difficult, it's just to get everything that's gonna make Jeff's job easier.
Yeah,
And it's just gonna make things better. It's gonna be easier for the people coming in, knowing what they're gonna do as well. Because we want people. I mean, it's not like we're trying to keep anybody out. We just wanna make sure that, like Mary Lou said, if you've got a structure already built, you just want it to be comparable, to be that neighbor, you know,
Right.
that would have. And I don't think that's being difficult at all myself.
And if it's possible for the next draft, I can just run through and make sure I have all the changes in. So, clarify the 3x3 porch language, getting that out, but keeping the railing and
Yeah.
guard, moving that down to there too. Having requiring a closed foundation. On the foundation, the bottom level can be exposed, concrete block, but above that, it must have, it could be split face block, or it could be some sort of covered stucco brick stone. Minimum roof pitch of 512, but then that might adjust a little bit based on input. Base foundation landscaping, and then the last question was, talked a little bit about it, Portland has a requirement that the home be 5 years,
yes.
less than 5 years
Yes,
old, is
I
that
think
another
that's good.
one to add in
I
as
think that's
well, or?
good, yes, I do. I
And
do.
would that be, say Clayton had it on his lot for more than 5 years? Does that,
Oh,
maybe the regulations are different over a 5-year period of the building itself?
Well, the actual building is regulated, I believe by the state, it's part of the inspection process.
Because why would there be one with more than 5 years?
Well, they sell used ones.
Yeah, they do.
If they're bringing it from
Oh,
that
oh, yes,
location.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so we want,
Well,
yeah,
can we even
And
make
it's
it to
simple.
where it's gotta be new?
And if somebody actually lived out, you know, like in the country, and they wanted to sell theirs to move it in, you know, you're looking at that as well, you know, to move in one that's already been lived in.
because in the county you can build whatever you do, whatever you want, but in the city,
Right,
they
that's what
want
I'm
it all
saying.
like houses.
So, go ahead.
Oh,
No, I was just gonna say, so less than 5 years would be good, because like I said, you can't tell somebody can't buy a used one.
Yeah,
You know, we can't tell them they've gotta buy a brand new one and go to the, you know, actually go to Clayton or whatever. But if it's less than 5 years, if they buy one that someone wants to use it for farmland and it's less than 5 years old, then, you know, they should have that opportunity, you know, to move it and set it up to meet the requirements
yeah.
that we're wanting
It's
to.
not that old.
Yeah, that it's not that old. But I just say less than 5 years.
And then one thing that's part of this too, part of the draft requirements right now, affidavit of affixation, so that the manufactured home becomes part of the land, so
Yes.
it could move from outside the jurisdiction, and
Uh-huh.
once it's in.
They
it's-
can't move it back out,
Yeah.
right,
It's
exactly.
there.
Yes, yes. That it becomes attached. Okay.
I just Googled it, and it said the roof pitch of manufactured homes like double wide trailers is usually between 312 and 512. So that's their average.
Anything else?
So update the draft and have the updated draft ready for the next plan commission meeting.
Do we need to pass this based on those being put in there? Can we go ahead and do that, or do we need to wait? Because could we go ahead and adopt it, you know, and go ahead and pass it with the additions of what you're adding, or do you think it would be best for us to wait?
It might be nice just to have it nice and clean.
Okay, that's great.
And
We've done both
because
ways.
of the adjustment of the zone ordinance, and it's a recommendation up to the bottom
Okay,
as well.
that'd be good, yes, okay.
Are these people waiting on this to happen before they can get their placement, get what their house?
No, on this one, we went ahead, of course, I've talked to them about the stuff that's gotta go with it, and they're willing to do everything that's gotta go with it, but they've already got the trailer, the manufactured home
The home,
is already set up. They've not got the block done yet on the bottom of it, because they're kinda waiting on me, for us to
so that's why I
decide
thought
what
if
we're
we
doing
could
on
pass
this.
that, they could go ahead and
So-
start with their,
So they
Well, I mean,
know,
I can go ahead and tell them on this part though, because it's already,
yeah, they know what they have to do.
right, I mean, on the block part of it.
And they're already vested in before this takes effect
Right,
too.
right.
So
right,
Yeah, that is true, but they did say that they would do whatever.
they were willing to do
Whatever,
it,
yeah.
which is good. Isn't that good?
Since they already had it blocked and it's tied to the loan. We'll do
Which I'm
whatever.
kinda, like I said, I'm kinda glad it happened, because until that happened,
We didn't know it.
I was still under the impression if it come in on axles that it didn't come in.
That's what I have always,
So,
since 2006, that's what I've always been told.
Brian busted my bubble on that part.
Sorry.
it's happens
you
in
know,
different places too, so.
We have still some vacancies, and we want people here. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, we're not trying to keep anybody out, because we definitely want people here.
And, you know, this is it's a Tennessee law that they passed, and
Mhm.
part of the argument for passing it
Sure.
was trying to
Sure.
create affordable housing solutions too.
I understand.
It's good, it's all good.
I guess we're good to move on, we're just
Yeah.
he's gonna update that and bring it back to the next.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Do you have more to say about tiny homes as well?
So this draft also has a little section about modular homes too.
What is this proposed adjustments to mobile home park district requirement?
Um,
I know we have one mobile home park here that was grandfathered in, but we don't have any others.
Oh, I failed to look
It would be in case someone would want to do a mobile home park, there are a couple adjustments that this would make. And again, I'm doing comparisons with what some other zone ordinances have done. So in the zone ordinance is a whole section, mobile home park district, so if someone wants to come in and put in a mobile home park, these are the requirements.
But haven't we already said they can't, a single wide?
Single wides can only go into a mobile home
Yeah.
park.
Mhm.
So someone would have to take a piece of land, zone it mobile home park district, and then they could put in single wides within that mobile home park. And this part of the zoning ordinance just covers, if you wanted to take 15-acre piece of land and make it a mobile home park, these are the requirements for, to do that.
But I thought we had a code that you couldn't do it, you couldn't put it.
That's you can't have one in the R1 district, you'd have to change it to a mobile home park district. It's actually in our book for the mobile home park district. But you're changing the whole, instead of it being R1 or residential 1, residential 2, it's gonna be mobile home park is gonna be what it'd be zoned.
So the only places you could put a single wide mobile home as a residence is in a mobile home park district. And I'm
You
not
just can't put ones anywhere. Okay,
so this would be if someone would come in and say, I want to develop a mobile home park. right now, the zoning ordinance has requirements for what that would look like, and that is just tweaking it, so, don't have to make these changes, but I was just looking through and seeing some changes elsewhere that could be done, but they don't have to do it, but I can walk y'all through them, what they are.
I just hope we don't have enough ground for us to do it.
All right.
And one thing I can do too is, see if anything is, I don't know if anything is currently zoned, except for the existing, but I'll double
Just
check.
exist, that's the only one we got. It was grandfathered in when they, but that's the reason why we do have the mobile home park in here though, because when that one, got annexed into the city.
And I have a talent for making things more complicated than sometimes they need to be, so if that is this, then that's fine too, but just wanted to talk about what it might look like. So a couple things, if someone were to looking to develop a mobile home park, just clarifying that they need to have a site plan, it just clarifies the scale and that an engineer needs to do it. Couple other things, just clarifying on the language, the planning commission reviews the mobile home park, not the planning commission and the BZA. Clarifying we're only talking about the mobile home park district. Adding a requirement that mobile home park developments would need to connect to public water and public sewer. And if there is no water and sewer available, then the person looking to develop the park would need to pay for it to bring that service in. Cleaning up the language a little bit on fire hydrants. So right now it says no more than 500 feet apart, but also just clarifying throughout the development, so it isn't just 500 on the perimeter, that sort of thing. Just, trying to make sure that's clear. And then just clarifying it's the zoning administrator who can revoke the permit at any time, as opposed to the board.
Who is that person? Who is this zoning administrator?
I believe that's
Me.
Jeff.
Unless you want it.
No, sir.
It's Jeff,
Jeff, you got too many jobs.
And now, let me,
he has help,
and maybe I misunderstood you, but
has help.
on the tiny homes are considered pre-manufactured homes, correct? Which would also be a single wide trailer too, correct?
Tiny homes can be one of two things. They can be stick-built on site, but I believe the person who reached out to the planning commission prior, they are manufactured in a facility in Alabama, and I believe they're actually modular homes.
Modular.
So they're all under modular homes.
It's too many different homes.
No.
And state of Tennessee says you have to treat modular homes the same as you treat stick-built homes.
Carl's got a nice little development out there by Walnut Grove Church.
Yeah.
And so one thing I believe about the person who's reached out about homes so far, they're looking to put a tiny home, one on each lot, which is what we've run into a lot of other jurisdictions. The issue is someone wants to take, like a 10-acre lot and put 20
Yeah.
tiny homes on it, and that creates a whole host of issues versus someone
Right.
trying to put a
Put
tiny home on a half-acre lot or quarter-acre lot.
Because it's not big enough to actually build inside the city limits, that's what we get talked about, yeah.
And I guess that's, I don't know if that's something y'all want to vote on. That's something, because I know we've had, this be the third time we've had it
Well-
over here, but.
And like with the tiny homes, because I've slept since then a little bit, like with the tiny homes, like they will be treated just like what we were talking about, the prefabricated homes. They'll have to do the underpin as far as blocks, or will they just, how will that be?
I
Because,
think most of
you know,
them are
they're-
set on slabs, they do.
So my thing is, are they gonna be treated different from what we've talked about them? Because they're being moved in too. And even though they're smaller and they're on a smaller lot, are we gonna allow them to not have some type of qualifications of trying to do? That's my question.
They have skirting around them.
Like I said, I think they sit on a slab often,
Yeah.
or at least that's what I guess.
From,
I guess
now when I talked to Mr. O'B when this all started, I think he said all of his sets on slabs.
On slabs.
Now, that don't mean that
It's still-
everybody that puts them in sets them on slabs.
And not only that, on a slab, is there still gonna be space in between where they are? How thick is the slab gonna be?
Right.
You know, that doesn't mean that everybody's gonna do it willing to fill in, that there'll be something that will need something under that. I don't know, that's my question.
So I'm just trying to get reacquainted a little bit.
That's okay. You see where I'm going? I mean, you know, they'll bring it in on the concrete slab, which is like a foundation, but it's not being built from the foundation up. It's being moved in and it's on wheels, so it's still gonna have, if the foundation is not thick enough, it's still gonna have something underneath it. Right? Am I
And
right?
they have an opening for the water to come through?
Yeah, but I'm talking about like from the front, like what we're talking about with them having to do something with the facing of the
They have to be
house.
sturdy around
Is there, yeah, right. Is there gonna be a space there? Are we not gonna have something that will make it, look like a home-built tiny home? That's, you
Because
know,
the two that are out there on 79 on the way to Paris, on the right, they've got skirting around them, they look very nice.
but is everybody gonna do that with that in place? That's my question.
We'd have to have it
Are we
in
gonna,
place.
are we gonna have it without, you know, you know, cause not everybody.
I mean, couldn't the same rules apply to the manufactured homes, just apply to the tiny homes?
That's what I'm trying to say, you know, are we going to have, the same rules as far as making it look more like it's built from the base up, from the foundation up? Or are we gonna let them just put it on a concrete slab and then when they take the wheels off, you got a space this high, this high,
That's
this
it.
high? And you see what I'm talking about? But then we're gonna have the prefabricated homes where there can't be a space under them, they have to do something with you know, some type of concrete, like a foundation. So that's,
Well, that's what I'm saying, can't we just put it under the same thing?
that it all has to be done to look, you know, like it's built there and not just moved in. I think that was the purpose.
So actually, right now, the current draft has more clarity for site built than it does for what
Right.
Mike's talking about. So right
Right.
now, for site built, we say, or the draft says, I should say, this structure must be constructed upon a permanent foundation and is required to be connected to the public sewer system. But we don't, there is no language in the current draft about a modular tiny home that's brought in from elsewhere. But it is something we could add underneath the definition.
Right.
And it sounds like, so borrowing from what we're doing borrowing from what the planning commission is looking for in the manufactured house, doing that same thing on modular tiny homes, is that?
I think because we can't really pick and choose and, you know, just because it's a smaller area, you know, because those tiny homes are gonna have homes sitting beside of them as well, you know. So if you're gonna look at the big picture, I think they should all have the same rules as far as, and Mr. Garland's, I've not seen one of his that doesn't look amazing. I mean, it's beautiful, but is he gonna do them all? I mean, is he the only one we're gonna allow to do it because we know he's gonna do the right thing? Or do we put something in there that's gonna have the writing for Jeff, that's gonna be open for him to be able to go by?
So it sounds like some clarity that needs to be either on needs to be on some permanent foundation.
Yes. I think, now I'm just speaking for me, I can't speak for the others, but I think so.
Permanent foundation.
Mhm.
I think we should.
Is it gonna-
They're typically not elevated like a
No, they're not.
modular home or a
No,
trailer home.
no.
They're typically sort of down on the ground.
Usually they have porches already on them and everything.
Of course, we're not gonna make them add a big, was it an 8 by?
No,
Was it 64 square
no,
foot?
because most of them already have a porch.
Yeah, they're all
You
So
self.
know,
we're not
they
gonna sort of
already-
require that. We're just sort of saying fixed to the ground.
Maybe something in the back though, and not have
Not,
blocks.
they don't usually even have two
Do
exits.
they not have a back, they don't have a door in the back? See, I've not been in one, I don't know.
I don't know.
I've not been in one. They're pretty. I couldn't get my shoes in there, so that's off the record. Sorry, Miss Tina.
Don't put that in, don't put that in.
Don't put it in there, they're beautiful.
It's in there already, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's all good, I don't care, I'm country, it doesn't matter. Just saying, for me, they're beautiful, not to spoil the sale.
But tiny homes probably ought to go on a slab, but you don't want them up too high, they wouldn't be a very good foundation.
But if your slab's not thick enough, then you are gonna have a gap there. if we don't have, if we don't have something that's gonna make it filled around, as a foundation look, then if that slab is not high enough, then it's gonna have something there.
Most of them all have some kind of skirting around them that matches the house.
Right, right.
I think he had some words in this, in the summary here, where you have that might, someone like a continuous foundation or something like that. I saw it somewhere. Enclosed foundation, base enclosed foundation. That's what you want. I mean, I know it's from a different section, but I was just looking at your wordsmith in there.
Because you don't want animals.
I think that's what you want. You want a base enclosed foundation, what it looks like exactly. I think that's what we're looking for.
And,
Would you all agree? That's kind of what we're.
Well, what's
I bet
concerned
so.
about whether split face block or so, or have something similar on that?
Or some kind of skirting, because if it's on a foundation already, just some kind of skirting that's gonna tie it into the ground and make it look more stationary.
Oh,
All of them have
Could be a
skirting.
slab,
Skirting that matches the house.
Uh-huh,
or exterior veneer that matches all the way to the ground.
right. Because I just don't think we need to overlook that if we're gonna be so meticulous over the other ones. I think we all need to have, because when you build, Mr. Wallace, you have guidelines to go by as well. So, I think there should be, just not move them in there and just hope that the foundation is as thick that it will cover everything. I think there needs to be something in writing that has it all tied in together.
And if there's clarity in the language, if someone's looking to put in a tiny house, they know what the requirements are.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. That's good. Yes, thanks. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Did we think, we run out of time? That's okay. Well, we might have to just sort of end this
We can-
discussion. Table
So
this.
we can, I'm gonna table the tiny home still.
I think if he comes back with that next week, I suggest that we go ahead and pass it and move forward with it and let Mr. Garland or whoever, I think, let them move forward with it because we have, but we've never had this brought before.
Right.
So I hope he understands that this is something that we've not dealt with before as far as fabricated homes as well. So we just want to make sure we get everything, but as far as the tiny homes, I think maybe we should do something that would have us to move forward.
And then as of now, the process on those lots of record goes for the BTA, BTA would approve
Right.
the use agreement.
Yes, 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 yes.
We good then for table this now? We don't have to make a motion for that, I don't think.
Not to touch.
Just
No,
motion
because
to,
I don't think it was there for a vote. It was just to bring up the old business.
Discussion.
I think we're okay, yes, sir, because it just said old business. It didn't say anything about a decision.
good motion.
I'll make a motion.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
Pardon?
Excuse us.
What are we doing about number 7?
yeah, but I think me and Mr. Hamlin talked with, I think we wanna do this with all the members present.
Yes.
So we are gonna table this. to
Yes,
next month.
yes. That's what I had understood as well.
We will table
Yes.
number 7,
Yes.
and now we can move
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
on. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey, hold on.
See you again, bud.
Blake.